Last week, we talked about my initial breast cancer diagnosis and my primary and immediate reactions to it. Some very difficult and some marginally less difficult. And my choice to embrace hope, that intangible thing that means so much going forward. This week, this video posts a week after the first one, but it actually took 3 weeks to make, because this week I'm talking about all of the testing results that came in over this period of 3 weeks that helped guide my treatment going forward. And before I get into all that, I do want to make a disclaimer that my journey is mine. It's not yours. Do not make any medical decisions for yourself based on what I say. Take what I say as information to process and think through for yourself, but you have to work with your medical professional. Work with the doctor that you trust, and as a team, yes, research, get all the information, but make your decisions along with your doctor based on what's best for you, not what I say. That being said, I am going to make one recommendation to you. Do not neglect your yearly physical. I know none of us like yearly physicals, and as women, we particularly don't like routine mammograms, but I'm telling you what, my cancer was so small, I couldn't feel it, and I do exams regularly, but I couldn't feel it at all. I didn't know it was there. It could have grown much larger before I would have felt it on a routine self-exam. So do not neglect that yearly physical and the subsequent blood work and other routine testings that need to be done, because if you find out you have a problem, it's always better to find it out sooner rather than later, because sooner gives the doctors more options in how to treat you, and it makes your outcome so much better. Now, even if you find a cancer or something else late in the game, there's always hope and there's always options. But you do shrink your options if you wait and find it out too late. So my one recommendation I'm going to make to you in this whole entire video that's specific to you is do not neglect yearly physicals and whatever routine testing that your doctor recommends for you, because it is really important and it can save your life. But back to me and my specifics here. I had 5 tests done. And as I said, they took 3 weeks to do and all of the results to come in. My first test I had done was a ultrasound. My second test was a 3D tomography, which is just a fancy word for a 3D, more detailed mammogram. Then I had an ultrasound-guided needle punch biopsy, so the pathologist could then look in depth at my tissue and perform a bunch of tests on it. Then I had a breast MRI without and then with contrast. And then I had genetic testing by a lab that specializes in DNA specific to cancer. So those are my 5 tests that I had done. And I am very fortunate to live in an area here where we have a world-class cancer center. I mean, if you're going to have cancer, this isn't a bad place to get it. And I am very fortunate not only to live here next to this great cancer center, but also fortunate to have found an amazing breast specialist that works with this cancer center that I really like. She's very knowledgeable, very experienced in the surgical and other aspects of breast cancer treatment. She explained everything to me, took all the time that I needed to answer all my questions. She also made it clear these are my recommendations, but you are in the driver's seat. You shape your treatment moving forward. And I liked that. It empowered me. Yes, I want to know all the information I can possibly research. Yes, I want to know what her recommendations are, but I also want to know that she's not going to push anything on me. She is going to take my feelings and thoughts into consideration as we shape this treatment plan as a team together. So I am blessed doubly to live in this area and to have the doctor that I do. That being said, these are my testing results and some of the thoughts that I have on these moving forward. I'm going to have to consult notes, and I'm sorry, bear with me, but I want to make sure and not forget any of these details that are so pertinent to help you understand my journey. I found out from these tests that only the one cancerous mass has been found in both breasts. The other one is clear and only the one mass in the one site. So that's great news. It's 1.2 centimeters, which is roughly a half of an inch. And that's a really small, good size for a cancer. It is spiculated, which is associated with a higher chance of aggressiveness and spread. But as we'll talk here in a moment as I go through some of my other testing, that ended up not being as critical for me. So, that being said, I do have DCIS grade 2. DCIS stands for ductal. That's where the cancer is located in my milk duct. Carcinoma is the C, cancer. The IS stands for in situ, which just means encapsulated within. If it is indeed in situ, it has not spread, which is, if you're going to have cancer, again, best kind to have, if there is such a thing. So DCIS, ductal carcinoma in situ, grade 2, which is an intermediate grade. It's a nuclear grade that just expresses how prone to being aggressive and spreading this particular cancer is. And the fact that it was spiculated factored into that grade 2, because spiculated masses are known to, as a general sense, be more aggressive than other kinds. So the doctor believes that it's either stage 0. The grade dictates the aggressive factor of it, if you will. The stage indicates how large it is and whether it is spread already to other parts of my body. So she believes that it's either stage 0, which means it has not spread at all, which would be the best result, that it's only within my milk duct and hasn't moved outside the milk duct at all. Stage 1 means it has spread outside the milk duct and slightly in that breast, and or it has spread to one or more of the very close by lymph nodes. Obviously, stage 0 would be better, but even stage 1 is not bad. And I'll be grateful for whichever one that ends up being. And I won't know that for certain until the final biopsy is done on the tissue that she removes during surgery. She will remove a particular part of all of the cancer and then a particular part of the surrounding tissue that has a clear, clean margin, and then that will get sent to pathology, and that will tell me whether it is indeed stage 0 or stage 1, which will be important, as I will dictate here in a moment. My cancer is ER positive, PR positive. All that means is estrogen receptor positive, progesterone receptor positive. That means that this cancer has receptors on it that are sensitive to hormones, progesterone and estrogen. Those hormones will stimulate this cancer to grow. And that gives me then options for possible treatments with hormone blockers and other things like that. It is also HER2 negative. That's a fancy word for a marker that dictates how many receptors there are that will indicate, if it's positive, that cancer has a greater chance of metastasizing, spreading. Negative means it's low to minimal chance, and thankfully I am HER negative. So the PR positive, the ER positive usually is put together in a statement of hormone receptor positive. That's estrogen and progesterone. They're both hormones. So therefore, my cancer is an HR positive, HER2 negative breast cancer. Hormonally receptive, gets stimulated by estrogen and progesterone, but it is HER2 negative. It is the most common type of breast cancer in the United States. My genetics, this lab tested 48 of all the known, which are 48, of the known genes that are known to influence the formation and the spread of cancer. Some exert beneficial results, some exert negative results, but they are 48 genes that are known to influence the spread of cancer and the genesis of cancer itself. And I'm happy to say that I tested negative. I'm a negative. That's good. That means even though my mother had breast cancer at an early age, there are other factors, your age, your lifestyle, things you're exposed to. There's other factors that dictate your chance of developing cancer, not just your genetics. But based on my genetics, it's all negative. There are no mutations on any of these 48 genes known to influence the creation and the spread of cancer. So, taking all of my results together, I have about the best situation. I have one tumor. It's small. It was caught early. The doctor thinks that it's totally encapsulated in my milk duct. Possibly it might have spread to one of my lymph nodes. We will find that out. But even then, it's been caught very early. And it is hormone receptive, which means I have the option for hormone therapy, which can help as well. So if you're going to have cancer, which I don't wish on anyone, these tests results are about the best you can hope for. I am so grateful to God. I did not know when I started this journey how this was going to end, and I still don't know. It's unfolding as I go, but this is a very, very positive step on the road, and I am so grateful to God. He is so merciful to me. I don't know why that He is, but He is. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Going forward, my next step is surgery, which will be my next video. Will be my surgery itself and my little bit of my recovery there. And I will then have those pathology test results a few days after my surgery, and I will know for sure what the stage of my cancer is and if it is indeed in situ, encapsulated, or whether it's spread at all. I will know that for sure. But my choices on surgery were a single mastectomy to the affected breast. I had a double mastectomy option. And then I had a lumpectomy where they just remove the cancer and enough healthy margin around it for safety. And then they, like I said, they test it and then get the final results on everything at that point. In light of my testing being so good, result-wise, I chose to go conservatively. There's no right or wrong here. It's a personal decision that every woman has to make that's in this situation. And she has to make it with her husband if she is married. And there's no right or wrong decision here. But for me, it made, and my husband, it made more sense for me to go conservative and do a lumpectomy where just the cancer and clear margin tissue was removed, and then subsequent radiation. I looked at a mastectomy or a double mastectomy, and I was open to that. Everything was on the table, and still is in certain ways in my mind. But my decision has been to have a lumpectomy, and that's what I'm going to have done. And I will be doing radiation 1 month after. So my next video will be the surgery. Pretty much you won't see the actual surgery, but that would be cool. If it was me, I would love to see that. But I don't know if you'd love to see that. So you're not seeing the actual surgery, but you're going to see me saying good morning before I go in, and then you're going to see me after the fact. And then I'll give you my biopsy results as well. So that will be good information. So I won't post it until a few days after my surgery. Radiation's a whole, how my body's going to handle radiation, I don't know. Some people in good health, they barely notice anything. They might get a bad sunburn on the area that's irradiated, but that's about it. Other people struggle through the entire thing. But most people, from what I've read and understand, even these are otherwise healthy people now. My situation's not, a little more complicated than that. But even otherwise healthy people generally have some side effects, but they don't develop until the latter part of the radiation, as far as systemic side effects, fatigue and other things like that. It waits until you've had quite a few of the treatments, or even after the treatments are over before it hits you. So that's an interesting thing. At least forewarned is forearmed. I don't want to get through the radiation and think maybe I sailed through, though I'm not expecting to sail, but say I do. And then I'm all discouraged because I get kind of tank out and get really bad afterwards. The fact is, a lot of people do. If they're going to have systemic side effects, they do have those at the end or after the treatment is over. So that's good to know for me. As far as localized effects, basically you're dealing with skin irritation, a really bad sunburn. It burns the skin. And there are things I can do that I found out to help mitigate that possibility. But that pretty much starts to develop right away because that's a localized effect. The radiation is targeting that one spot. But my systemic whole body effects won't come until later in the treatment or afterwards, most likely. And most likely with my health situation, a little challenging. So I probably will have it worse than average, but I am not worried about it. I know I'm going to be fine going through radiation. I'm expecting it to not be fun, but I know I'm going to be okay. As I told you last video, Jesus is with me, and I know that. He's letting me go through this for sure, and I don't know why. But I know he's got good reasons for it. Somewhere, somehow, he's going to bring good out of it. Some way, he's going to bring good out of it. I know because I've experienced that at other things in my life, how he's brought good out of terrible circumstances. So I know he will, regardless of how this goes. I know he's with me. And so I am at complete peace through this entire thing. I've been at peace. And that's because of Jesus. And I just want you guys to know that. It's not because I'm special or I'm this strong woman, I guess I am strong because he's built that into me because of everything I deal with, but it's because of him. And I want to give him that glory. And I am grateful to him that my test results turned out so well. They could have been very different. I don't know why he's merciful to me, but I am grateful. So radiation is next, and I know it's going to be a little challenging. I know that, but I know I'm going to be okay. And so after the next video, which will be my surgery, then the next one, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that in a series of videos, probably, because we're dealing with multiple radiation treatments. I might do 2 or 3 videos through that whole radiation time frame. I just have to feel my way through this. First time I've ever done anything like this. So we'll see. However I feel would be the best to tell my story, my journey to you. That'll be the next video after the surgeries, or collection of videos after the surgery. So hormone therapy is going to depend, in my mind, again, my choice, my mind, not a recommendation for you, but my decision making is based on whether at the end of the surgery biopsy, they determine that the stage of my cancer is 0, non-spread at all, or 1, minimal spread to surrounding lymph nodes. Because if it's a 0, I'm kind of thinking that I might not need to do the hormone therapy. It's on the table. Again, all my options are on the table, but I'm just not sure about that part yet. Still trying to pray and think that through. And I am waiting on those pathology results. If I get a 1, I probably will do the hormone therapy, just to be safe. So we will see how that goes. So the next video will be my surgery. And if you've listened to the end of this, I appreciate it so much. Hit subscribe, whatever you need to do to make sure you know when the next video is uploaded, which will be a week from now. And I hope you choose to come along with me through this entire series of videos as it chronicles my journey, because I really want to be one of those people that inspires other people. And part of that is choosing positivity, choosing faith, not fear, as I dictated in my last video. And part of that is being willing, no matter how uncomfortable it makes me, to put my story out there in the hopes that maybe a few people can be encouraged and inspired by it. And that's my prayer. And that's my hope, that if you find yourself in a very difficult circumstance, it doesn't have to be health, it can be a disability, it can be a difficult family environment, it can be a terrible and difficult marriage, it can be a child that's on drugs, whatever it is. These principles, I hope, even if you never have breast cancer, which I hope you never do, but even if you don't, I'm hoping that some of the principles that we talk about will be helpful and encouraging to you as well. So again, thank you for listening to the end of this video. I am so appreciative of the few that have already watched, and I'm hoping for more. That the word will spread, that we have a choice, not over what happens to us, but we have a choice in how we respond. And I hope you, like me, will choose hope. It's intangible. You can't taste it, touch it, smell it, see it. But it means everything inside. It makes the difference between despair and hope, between peace and torment. And I hope for you. So choose it today. No matter what you're going through, choose hope. Until next week.